2 minutes. That's the amount of time separating you from a mental state where hours feel like minutes, where every action flows naturally into the next, and where your mind operates with laser-like precision. The state of flow isn't some rare talent reserved for elite athletes. In fact, it's a neurobiological hack that can be activated through specific triggers that manipulate your brain's neurotransmitters. While most people waste hours hoping concentration will just show up, smart people like you know the scientifically proven triggers that can switch on their flow state in just 2 minutes. Imagine waking up every day, knowing that in just 120 seconds, you can transform your scattered mind into absolute focus, shifting from a lazy morning to a state where hours dissolve and every idea naturally flows into the next. Section 1. The flow myth. If only I could focus like they do. How many times have you looked at someone working with deep concentration and thought, that person must have been born with a different brain? How many times have you convinced yourself that intense focus is a gift, a superpower you simply don't possess? For decades, we believed that the flow state was exclusively the territory of geniuses, inspired artists, and top-tier athletes. Names like Michael Jordan, Steve Jobs, Pablo Picasso, all those who have made history. Go ahead, confess it. You always thought they were the chosen ones, didn't you? The truth is, behind this belief is a crucial fact that completely demystifies the whole thing. The flow state is simply the result of specific and repeatable neurobiological conditions. In other words, there's nothing mystical about it, and there are no human beings with a special genetic component to inherit it. When a world-class pianist plays a complex piece and their hands seem to move on their own, when a surgeon performs a delicate operation for hours without fatigue, when a programmer loses track of time creating elegant code, they are all experiencing the exact same neurobiological phenomenon that you can access too. Flow happens when specific neurotransmitters flood precise brain regions. Dopamine boosts focus and motivation. Norepinephrine intensifies arousal or alertness, and endorphins reduce discomfort and increase the feeling of pleasure. This chemical cascade doesn't distinguish between an Olympic athlete and you. Why? Because your brain possesses the exact same capacity as everyone who enters flow. The difference lies in knowing the triggers that need to be activated. Have you ever wondered how many hours of productivity you've lost just waiting for focus to arrive naturally? Leave a comment below and tell me, what is your biggest distraction when you try to concentrate on something? Section 2. The perfectionism. Paradox. I'll wait until I have everything organized. Perfectionists have a toxic relationship with the flow state. They believe they need pristine conditions, detailed plans, and zero possibility of error before starting any important activity. This mindset kills flow before it even begins. You know why? Because this state thrives on the border between control and chaos, between planning and spontaneity. To achieve it, you need clarity of objective and flexibility in execution, accepting the initial state of imperfection. Neuroscientifically speaking, perfectionism activates the medial prefrontal cortex, MPFC, the brain region responsible for self-criticism and self-referencing. This significantly hinders the flow state, because during deep flow, this same region shows drastically reduced activity. To make this easier to understand, think of driving a car with the parking brake on. The car might move, but it'll sputter and strain. The perfectionist mindset paralyzes you. You waste mental energy planning scenarios, anticipating problems, and trying to control variables that are, in fact, uncontrollable. By the time you finally decide to start, your attentional capacity is already exhausted. Furthermore, the flow state works through immediate feedback and continuous adjustment. When you act, receive information, adjust, and act again, you're engaging in an interactive process that improves through execution, not excessive planning. For example, an artist doesn't wait for the perfect canvas, the ideal colors, and professional lighting to start a painting. They simply pick up a brush and begin. You must understand that flow emerges through action, not contemplation. Remember that feeling when you're so immersed in something that the world around you seems to disappear, where you feel everything clearly, but aren't thinking about every micro step? It's as if your intuition took the wheel and your accumulated experience was the GPS. Now, try to imagine the opposite. The perfectionist wanting to control every detail, as if they had to review every moment before acting. The result? A jammed brain, because what should flow automatically becomes too heavy an effort. Section 3. The 4 dimensions of flow. Triggers. Modern neuroscience reveals something fascinating. The brain entering flow is not a slow, gradual process. Instead, it's more like flipping a switch, provided you know which circuits to activate. How does this happen? Essentially, when we stop trying to embrace the world and focus on fewer things at once. We've talked about this many times on the channel, haven't we? The flow state emerges when we eliminate cognitive noise and direct our mind to a single stream of action. When we talk about flow, there are triggers that act as doorways. The cool thing is they appear in 4 dimensions: body, mind, environment, and social. In the body, it seems too simple, but 3 deep breaths can change your state. It's like hitting a reset button, suddenly making your mind more alert. Another thing, your posture matters. Sitting up straight, chest open, gives a sense of confidence and energy. And you don't need a marathon. Just standing up, stretching, moving around a little. The brain gets more oxygen and cleans out the mental clutter that accumulates. In the mind, clarity rules. Think of the difference between "I'll study today" and "I'm going to review chapter 3 for 20 minutes." One is vague, the other is a direct target. And when you choose tasks that are just slightly above what you already master, that's where the magic happens. The task isn't too easy to cause boredom, nor too difficult to cause frustration. It lands you in the perfect balance between challenge and skill. The environment also holds a lot of power. We so underestimate it that we don't realize a single cell phone notification completely destroys our focus. Silencing that is already halfway there. Putting on instrumental music without lyrics can become a shield against annoying noises, like that neighbor who decides to drill their wall right at your peak concentration time. And last, but not least, comes the social dimension. Have you noticed how working near someone who is focused makes you want to focus too? It's almost contagious. Our brains have internal mirror neurons that pick up the rhythm of the other person. If they are concentrated, you tend to enter the same state with them. Fundamentally, flow doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's built with these small adjustments. When body, mind, environment, and social energy align, it feels like the gears start turning on their own. Section 4. The strategic recovery. Modern culture glorifies hyperproductivity and the idea that more hours worked equals more results. But this mindset systematically destroys the flow state. Look, flow is a neurochemical peak, and like any peak, it requires valleys to sustain itself, right? The neurotransmitters that flood the brain during flow, like dopamine, norepinephrine, and endorphins, do not stay elevated indefinitely. They need time to replenish. Research clearly shows that forcing consecutive flow sessions without adequate recovery leads to mental burnout, poor performance, decreased creativity, and eventually, you completely lose the ability to enter the state you want so badly. Therefore, recovery is not the enemy of productivity. On the contrary, it is its fuel. That's why there's no point in trying to be a machine and just stacking hours of work, thinking you'll get more done. What really makes a difference is mastering the basics, genuinely sleeping, moving your body, and even allowing those moments of controlled boredom where you let your mind breathe a little. Look at high performers. They don't pull all-nighters or burn energy constantly. They work in cycles. They enter intense flow sessions, dive deep, but then strategically stop to recover. It's like an athlete who gives their all in training and then rests to come back even stronger, instead of constantly fighting cognitive fatigue. The ideal protocol varies individually, but research suggests 90-minute cycles as a starting point. 90 minutes of focused work, followed by 15 to 20 minutes of active recovery. This aligns with the brain's natural ultradian rhythms. When it's time to recover energy, don't try to trick your brain. If you've just come out of an intense cycle, diving straight into social media or more information will only continue to drain your attention. It's like trying to rest while watching notifications pop up on the screen. It feels like a break, but it's not. The ideal is to choose activities that truly recharge you. It could be a leisurely walk, just feeling your body move. It could be pausing for a few minutes to breathe deeply or stretch, or even just looking out the window, observing what's happening around you without having to do anything. This provides a powerful reset. The looser you let your mind wander without pressure, the faster it comes back ready for the next round of flow. Section 5. Flow as a life upgrade. The flow state isn't just a tool to be more productive. It's a fundamental reorganization of how you experience life. Most people live in autopilot mode, compulsively checking their phones, switching between distractions, never fully present in any single moment. Days blur into weeks, weeks into months, and gradually life becomes a succession of lost moments. When you accumulate regular flow sessions, something remarkable happens to your perception. Things that used to go unnoticed gain a new brilliance. Suddenly, colors seem more intense. Food has flavors you never noticed. Even a simple conversation can sound deeper. It's as if someone upgraded your old screen to a high-definition TV. Life stops being hazy and gains sharpness. And you don't just do more, you feel more. Every detail gains presence, as if the world is finally in the right focus. This transformation has a beautiful name, neuroplasticity, but in practice it's simple to understand. Every time you enter flow, your brain reinforces the pathways linked to deep attention. It's as if it is rewiring itself to prefer diving deep instead of being distracted by shallow things. And there's more. Flow even changes how you face challenges. What once seemed like a roadblock now becomes almost an invitation to reflect on your actions. It's not that you start to enjoy suffering, not at all. It's that flow happens precisely at the border between what you already master and what you still need to conquer. So every time you overcome an obstacle in this state, it becomes living proof that you are evolving. In the end, flow doesn't just increase your performance, it recalibrates your outlook on life. You start exchanging quantity for quality, hurry for presence, and fear of failure for the desire to grow. Do you have an activity outside of work where you felt that sensation of time flying by because you were totally immersed? Share in the comments what it is and what that experience was like. Conclusion. You now understand that flow isn't a privilege of geniuses, but a state accessible to anyone who knows the right triggers. You saw that perfectionism is a pulled parking brake that kills performance before it even starts. And you also realize that true productivity doesn't come from becoming a machine, but from respecting cycles of focus and strategic recovery. The question isn't whether you have the capacity to experience flow. The question is, how long will it take for you to start using that capacity? Ultimately, the decision is yours. Will you continue waiting for concentration to appear, or will you take control and activate the flow state whenever you need it? If this video changed your perspective on focus and productivity, please hit the like button and subscribe to Lovecraftian Psychology, and make sure to hit that bell icon to get notifications. See you in the next video.